for this learning call. For the webinar in Toton is primarily for the children who are going to participate from the Kenyan side. So I'll let Jenny talk about that team. But then we also have a few CSOs from the Stop the Traffic Kenya network who've joined on. So the invite was shared with our whole network, and I see a few of our members have joined in, such as Consolation East Africa. Let me go through the names very fast. We have a few of our members who have also joined in, and they'll continue to join in as we continue. So thank you all for joining us, and I hope we have a productive conversation. So Jenny, please, you can introduce the team that has also joined in. Thank you for the mobilization.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We have children from across Kenya. I know there are children who we were at the event today with children, but because I was unwell, I was not able to mobilize enough. So the event was moved to Monday. But anyway, luckily we have this other event, this one that is going on right now. We have children from a number of countries and county officers. So for the children officers who have joined us, the topic is on child trafficking from a children perspective and not what we had agreed earlier. So we have children from across Kenya. I know they're from Homa Bay, they're those from Kisumu, they're from Narok, Meru, they're just about to join in. So and thank you so much, Brian, for doing an amazing job. We have children from Total News, the Total News journalists children. I've seen some of you, and that thank you so much and welcome all for this conversation. We're going to be talking about it from a children perspective. Go on, Michelle.
Sorry, I seem to have lost you. I didn't get.
Sorry, no, I think we're done with maybe the introduction. Just Jennifer was just letting you know she was done, Michelle. But I think we're back to Jessica. Jessica?
Okay, thank you so much, Jenny, for the brief on the children who are participating in this webinar. Once again, I would like to welcome you to this webinar. I would like to welcome you once again. It is a webinar that has brought together children from the East African community. And, when you have children, it is important to hear what they have to say before any is decided on it is going to affect them. So the reason that's why this has been organized is to ensure that the children voices are heard and what they know. We need to find out whether the children know about this vice child trafficking. We need to know how they are being affected, and we need to know what CEOs working on the issue of prevention of child trafficking and trafficking in persons as a whole. We need to know what they have to say. So today, the children, it is your day. You're going to speak, and you will have an opportunity. You're going to speak. You're going to have an opportunity to put we, the adults and the duty bearers, on spot and ask them why things are not happening the way they should be. If you feel you're not protected, then why don't you feel protected? What would you like your government or the CSOs in your country to do so that you feel protected? On that note, I would like, in respect of time, I would like to thank TDH, Terra the Zones, that has supported us so that we make this happen. This is through the GAA, that is Girls Advocacy Alliance, and it is a project where this activity actually falls. JA is committed to rights and opportunities for girls and young women, with main focus on ending gender-based violence in forms of commercial sexual exploitation, sexual violence, abuse, FGM, and child trafficking and early marriages. So today we are focusing on child trafficking, like I've already mentioned. And without further ado, I would like to invite the executive director for the National Children's Authority here in Uganda to officially open this webinar. He's the executive director of NCA in Uganda. He's a child rights activist with a vast experience in child protection issues. He has been part of the team that formulated the East African Community Child Policy 2016. And for the love that he has for children here in Uganda, he has had himself as a name. It will loosely translate things as grandpa, but here in Uganda we say Jaja Wabana or Baba in Swahili. So I would like to welcome the executive director, that is Mr. Martin Kiza, to officially open the webinar. Martin, getting the audio. Okay. Okay, we are working on it. We are giving you the audio on that side. And Jenny, kindly sort out the audio. Mr. Martin's microphone is muted. Mr. Martin, now.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Thank you very much. Good morning, dear children. I hope I'm clear. Hello?
Yes, you are.
Martin, you're clear. Just go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good morning once again, dear children. Habari gani watoto, tumefurahi sana ya kuwa na nyinyi kwa hii mkutano. This is the East African community, so we are going to mix up Kiswahili for our children in Kenya, and our children here, even in Uganda, do of course appreciate Kiswahili. So we shall mix up. I will go by bilingual. I would like. My name is Martin Kiza, as I was being introduced, and I'm the executive director of the National Children Authority here in Uganda. Our mandate is to advocate for children's rights by monitoring compliance with international and national standards for the protection, of course, of our children. So this is a very timely conference for all of us, particularly the children, to raise issues that really affect them. And as we focus on child trafficking today. But allow me once again also to thank the organizers of this very important conference. Thanks go to Dwelling Places and the management in general, the Eastern Africa Child Rights Network, then Stop the Traffic Kenya, and Mutoto was under the support of Terre des Hommes. We appreciate this type of networking and partnership. So very much. Once again, I also welcome the children in this conference. And I want to take this on spot here that please children, feel very comfortable to raise issues that affect you, particularly looking at issues pertaining to child trafficking. And I also want to really appreciate what Francia and Michelle have raised in that type of area in terms of ensuring that our children really come to discuss these issues. And Jessica, thank you very much. We say asante sana. Ensure that as we discuss these issues, we must underscore, we must the best interests of the child, putting children first in whatever we are doing. And as you've all heard, Uganda National Children Authority, I was part of the team that developed the East African Community Child Policy. And within this policy, dear children and ladies and gentlemen, there is that critical area of cross-border child rights violations. And the policy brings out clearly the issues that are of the nature in terms of cross-border child rights violations. One is child trafficking. Child trafficking has been a big problem across the region. Here in Uganda, child trafficking both internally within the country, then of course transnational. And of course, our colleagues in the region, East African Community region, have the same almost similar problems. So our children are being affected almost in the whole region in terms of child trafficking. So what the strategy talks about here in terms of the policy in terms of strategy is ensuring that actors strengthen a collaborative framework and administrative mechanisms in preventing and responding to such vices. So we need to ensure that we have this in place or strengthen already what is in place. Then the other point that the policy brings out clearly is strengthening the investigative capacities of cross-border immigration and law enforcement agencies to be more responsive and vigilant to child rights violations. So today, we shall definitely give the opportunity to children so that we hear their voices, yani tusikilize sauti za watoto, waongee mambo ambayo wanapata kama shida kwa hao, alafu tuende mbele. So children should really speak openly and feel confident in this area. But allow me just to bring out very few key issues that have affected us here in Uganda in terms of violence against children. We have statistical evidence that during this lockdown, which of course this is a global problem, it's a pandemic, but during this lockdown here in Uganda, for example, children, more than 21,260 child abuse cases have been reported. This is terrible. So children need our protection. Children need to be given that child-friendly environment. For example, girls, about 2,300 girls have been impregnated in the different provinces here in the country, we call them districts. And this calls for our intervention as actors. We have laws in place, we have anti-trafficking legislation. So all these need to be enforced, all these need to be implemented. And I want to take this opportunity to thank the respective governments in the region, thank the civil society organizations in the region, but again call upon you that we need to ensure that we update, we strengthen these areas. I want also to request the children that children really you have your rights to enjoy. But again, I want to remind you that we also as children, you as children have responsibilities to adhere to oblige to, so that you become part and parcel of society whereby you will contribute issues that affect you so that they are listened to the policymakers. So today, I want really to thank the organizers for this very important webinar and also to encourage the organizers that this should not be an end in its own, like a one-off event. Once in a while, we should be really coming up to monitor ourselves, look into issues that we are doing, so that children get maximum support, children get the child-friendly environment, so that they can also really be part and parcel of the national development. So, ladies and gentlemen, dear watoto, dear children, we want to, I want to call upon all of us to have a collective effort in the fight against child trafficking. I don't want to preempt issues that children are going to raise, but I want just to underscore the need of ensuring that we all work together. All governments in the region, this is what we call the spirit of integration, having the different countries get together in terms of networking and putting issues of children first in whatever the governments do. And the civil society organization, we thank you very much for adding a voice, for advocating, for giving, for supplementing government effort in the fight against violations of children's rights. And then to children, we encourage meaningful child participation. Children must be seen, must be heard, and their issues must be addressed by policymakers. So this is a timely conference. I am very optimistic that children, looking at the objectives of this conference and the output of this conference, will be very instrumental as it is to be presented to IALA, to the East African Legislative Assembly. So, with these very few words, I want to thank you once again. I want to thank the organizers, and I'm optimistic that at the end of the day, we shall have a clear output by the children. And I want also to ask the organizers that we shall be very grateful as the National Children Authority to have this report presented to us, and we maybe also look at it in terms of giving input. With those very few words, I want all to officially open the conference and say, for God and my country. Asante sana.
Thank you, Mr. Chiza, for those wonderful words the children have had. The children have heard, and I'm sure when they are deliberating and making their submissions, they are going to be very free because they have a right to be heard. We are right now going into the session of presentations from the children, and I would like to hand over to Fresha to start. Fresha, over to you.
Thank you, Jessica. Hi, everyone. My name is Fresia Kago. I work with the Eastern African Child Rights Network. It's a network consisting of civil societies from the Eastern African region. And part of what we do is advocate for child rights in the continent, both at the Eastern African region, but it's also to bring up those same issues up to the East African community level and also to the African continent, the African continental level. So as Jessica has, or so far as Jessica has highlighted, we will be talking about child trafficking, and this is with the support of TDH. And I'm quite grateful for this opportunity to actually hear from the children, because we have had monthly, since the beginning of July, we have had a lot of, or we have heard from stakeholders, and that was on the different aspects of, let me say, trafficking. We were looking at protection, we looked at partnerships, we looked at prosecution. What was the last one? Okay, I've forgotten one. So today it will be great for us to hear from the children on the children's perspective, what it is that the children have been, either some of you I know have already been part of the Girls Advocacy Alliance project, and you may have talked about trafficking. But for others, this may not be the case. It may be their first time, I don't know, to hear about trafficking or to come across trafficking. So it's to allow us all to have a dialogue, to understand or to see what it is that you understand by the term trafficking. So I think for purposes of this, I know some of you have raised the issue that you're not able to talk. I'm not so sure, maybe as Jennifer, when we were starting, she highlighted that for your own security, for child protection, child safeguarding purposes, you will not be able to, you don't have access to your camera or to your mic. But if you want to talk, there is that small icon at the bottom, which allows you to raise your hand. No, it's not at the bottom, but it allows you to raise your hand. So if you really want to talk, you just raise your hand, and then we will be able to allow you to talk. For purposes of this meeting or for this dialogue, we will be using the method we are using is that I'll ask maybe a series of questions, or we will be asking a series of questions, and we will get to hear from different children. So it's a balance between Kenya, Uganda. I know we are from both countries, Kenya and Uganda. So we will get to hear maybe from Uganda, from Kenya. So I know Jennifer and the others who are here will help me in identifying those who have raised their hand. But maybe to start with my first question, let's just start from the very beginning. The question of, have you heard really of the term trafficking? Has any of the children really, have you heard of the term trafficking? And maybe where did you hear it from? So I am seeing some hands are raised. I don't know whether they want to answer the question or, okay, I will start with, I'm seeing Emily, Somero, Rodney, and Wafula. Okay, the hands are going up. Let me start with you, Emily, because the hand is up. Emily, have you heard of the term trafficking or child trafficking? You've got to unmute the mic. I have unmuted you on my end, but you have to unmute the mic also on your end. Emily? Hello, Emily. Okay. Maybe as asked to unmute. Okay, as Emily prepares, let me go to, I'm seeing Wafula. Wafula Frederick.
Hello.
Okay, sorry. Yes. Hi, Wafula. Maybe you can tell us your name and where you're from and your age, please.
I am Justice Barak from Uganda in Busia, Busia, Kenya. I'm 12 years old. I
Okay.
cooperate with World Vision and IPD Uganda to fight for children's rights. I've ever heard about the word trafficking concerning children.
Yes.
Because child trafficking is when maybe children are taken from one place to a foreign place, or a foreign, maybe a foreign country, foreign district, from leaving their homeland or hometown, and they are going to be mistreated in the other country or other district where they have been trafficked from.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I understand by trafficking or child trafficking.
Thank you, Afula, and thank you for that. Yes, it's when children are taken from one place to another, and he has also brought the element of of mistreatment. I am seeing who is this? Rodney Mutebi.
My name is Nakaka Maureen from Government Link. I'm a GAA advocate.
Okay.
About child trafficking. And child trafficking is the recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring, rent of children for the purpose of exploitation.
Okay, there is the transportation, you have brought in the recruitment and the harboring of children. I know those are very, yes, that is actually the legal, or to call it the major definition, but thank you for that. Thank you for that. I'm seeing there's a lot of hands that have been unmuted. So I don't know whether, let me see. I'm seeing Somero, Uganda. From Somero, who do we have from Somero, Uganda? Somero. Okay. Somero, Uganda. Who do we have from Somero, Uganda?
My name is Nansela Resti.
Yes, Resti.
I'm a scream agent from Somero, Uganda.
AA
advocate, aged 14 years.
Okay.
I've ever heard of the word child trafficking. Trafficking is when children are tricked, forced, or persuaded to leave their homes for the purpose of exploitation, slavery, and child labor.
Okay, exploitation, slavery, and child labor. And where did you hear this term from, child trafficking? Where did you hear the term from?
I heard it also from our school.
Your school. So you have, is it a club or do you have trainings, or where in school?
We have clubs.
You have a club that deals with, raises the issue of trafficking?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Resty. I'm seeing Emily, your hand is back up. Emily? Emily Donia.
Yes. My name is Sylvia, and I'm Ugandan from Emily Sada organization in Kampala.
Yes.
And yes, I've heard of the term child trafficking, and this is the recruitment, transportation, and transfer of a child for the purposes of exploitation.
Okay. And why did... Yes, continue.
And I had this from a camp that we had gone to, and it was organized by Terre des Hommes and dwelling places.
And dwelling places. Okay. So during the camp, they trained you on child trafficking.
yeah, that's where I got to know about it from.
Okay. Thank you, Emily. Let me try and get a Kenyan. I'm seeing Billy Omondi. Billy Omondi? You've got to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can very clearly.
Okay, I think child trafficking.
Billy, you can tell us where you're from and how old you are.
I'm Billy Mondi from Kenya and I'm 14 years old.
Okay. Where in Kenya?
Kisumu.
Kisumu. Okay.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I think child trafficking is is taking a child from one place to another without his or her permission.
Uh-huh.
Taking the child by force.
Uh-huh.
Without his or her will and without his or her will or anyone consent.
Or anybody's consent. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that, Billy. Okay, I think, well, we have the general, or from the answers that we've given, I can see we are able to understand trafficking or child trafficking, because a lot of you have brought in the aspect of the transportation, recruitment, and the transfer. For children, mostly for adults, you would either have to force them or trick them, but for children, it does not matter what you use for you to traffic them, what method you use to get them, or for you to be able to traffic them. As long as you have transferred them from one place to another, or you've received them, or somebody said harboring, which in other words is holding them, part of this involves trafficking. So maybe a lot of you have already done, which would have been my question too. But then now let me go to ask another question. Trafficking takes many forms or different, forms or ways of trafficking. I don't know how many or anyone, I think you can raise your hand. Which ways do you know of trafficking or forms of trafficking? I'm seeing hands are still up. Which ways do you know of trafficking? Let me start with Diana. Diana, hi, Diana. Kindly unmute yourself. Diana? Yes.
I'm Victoria Promise Nasamla.
Sorry, your name?
I'm Victoria Promise Nasamla.
Victoria. Yes, Victoria.
I'm from Rahab, Uganda.
Uh-huh.
A girl's advocate.
Yes.
These are some of the forms of child trafficking.
Uh-huh.
One of them is the mother form is child trafficking itself.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is child sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is child labor.
Mm-hmm.
Early marriages.
Uh-huh.
Commercial sex.
Uh-huh.
That is it.
Okay, thank you for that, Diana. You've listed quite a list of them, from child labor, Okay, let me see what other or which of these forms do you know or have you seen in Uganda?
Child labor.
Child labor. What type of labor are children involved in?
It's forced labor.
Forced labor. To do what? What work are they involved in? And Diana, there's somebody speaking to you. Please tell them to stop speaking to you. We want to hear you.
Some of the children are forced to do a lot of work at home.
Uh-huh.
In the communities. Some of them
What type of work? What type of work?
Some of them are taught to go and fetch water for a long distance.
Uh-huh.
Others are taught to go and fetch firewood for also a long distance.
Uh-huh.
Some of them are not given food because they have not done their work which they have told them to do.
Okay. And who is this who is sending these children to fetch firewood or go get water?
Some of them, let me speak about the stepmothers.
Uh-huh.
Because since the child is not his or her child, she has her children, and sometimes she can say that her children are special.
Yes.
And the lady or the gentleman or the aunt sends that child to go and do so.
Okay.
Another thing is, even our parents, our own parents do so. Because they have a lot of children at home.
Yes.
They say that this child is useless because sometimes they give birth to us when they are not ready. So they try to do what? To say that since you came to earth when I'm not ready, let me give you a lot of work to do.
Okay.
Then another thing is, our aunties, our relatives, they do also.
Yes.
Then some of them, like us, our parents, when they have died,
yes.
they leave us with our relatives, some of our relatives.
Okay.
Our parents, let me imagine that we are not so rich at home. For them, they have worked hard to get money, and our parents have died, and they live with our parents. Then another thing, if our parents have left us on earth, so some of our relatives, they use that opportunity, say that let me force this child to do this. And some of them, they force us. Now, like if I'm 12 years, 13, 14, they can force me to go to get married because they say that I've grown yet it is not yet my time.
Okay. So from if I'm able to summarize from what you've said, you have a lot of relatives, step parents, and also even in the community, people using children for a lot of domestic work or domestic labor. And a lot of this, some of the reasoning that they're giving is either parents or children were born when the parents were not ready or were not really willing to get another child. So, or they have a lot of children, so they're using one, or they use some of them, or they give some of them for a lot of domestic labor and a lot of work. And then also when children who are orphans, they are married off because either family wants, the relatives want the bride price, or they want to remove the burden of having to take care of a child.
Sometimes, sometimes they get married. They force the children to get married, and they force them to get married.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Let's see another hand that was up. I'm seeing Joseph Karish. Joseph. Hi, Joseph. Maybe unmute yourself on your end. Joseph. Okay. Let me find someone else as we wait for Joseph. I'm seeing there is Megan Tess. I'm allowing you to talk. Hi, Megan. Okay. For some reason, I'm unable to allow her to talk from my end. I don't know. Felix. Sorry, why am I unable to allow people? Felix, Jennifer, can you assist,
good morning.
please? Yes.
Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
I'm Felix Maondo from Kenya, in Makueni County. I'm 17 years.
Yes.
And I know some of the forms of child trafficking. I know one of the ways like a child being forced to forced labor.
Forced labor.
Another maybe in some countries, other children being forced to join an army. Also being forced to take part in drug dealing. And also you also get like sometimes like there's some forces of like forced adoptions.
Forced adoptions.
Yeah. I also think of because if it's like the street children, not all are street children, but some of them are usually used to beg for like maybe money in order to like to get something for the family. So I guess that is also child trafficking, a form of it.
Okay. The children who are connected to the street being forced to beg. You said you're from Makueni County?
Yes.
So which forms of trafficking have you come across in Makueni?
One day is forced labor, of which is very, very evident. And also,
what type of labor?
Like some of the children are used in like to be as house girls.
House girls.
Like I also have like in a girl from Uganda. Who is used as an house girl. I know she right now they live in Isli. Also in Makueni they still drug dealing. Like a child is used in like transportation or selling of Mira in Samal Bank, of which the child is innocent, but since they've been forced, they have nothing else to do. They have to just to do that.
Okay. In the case of the Ugandan, you have said was she living in Makueni, then moved to Isili, or how did you get to know about that case?
Yes, she lived in Makueni, then she got that job in Isili.
Isili.
Yeah.
So who connected her, or why was she living in Makueni? You said she's Ugandan. Is it that her family lives in Makueni, or had she also come to Makueni to work there?
Like she just came. And then like after like in a certain town, then like she's wondering, then she gets some job. Then she gets rid of some job of being an house girl. Then she was employed.
Okay. Do you know how old she was?
I guess she's around 16 years.
16 years.
Yeah.
Okay, I think maybe one of our CSOs here will be able to talk to you a bit more after this. But thank you for that. Felix, I'm seeing Megan. Megan, you had unmute. Kindly unmute yourself. Yes.
Yes, I'm Megan Tess from Nairobi, Kenya.
Yes, Megan. How old are you?
I am 16 years old. Okay, the forms of child trafficking that I know is we have child tourism.
Child tourism.
We have forced labor. We have adoption. Then we also have domestic servitude. Those are the forms that I basically know and mostly dwell in. Mostly here in Nairobi, the one that is mostly, I think, here in Nairobi, other than forced labor in supermarkets and majengo places, there is also child tourism.
What do you?
Because in
Yes, continue.
Like for example, in child tourism, this is when children are exploited for. This is where children are exploited in Kenya, mostly in Nairobi. Like I said, they are groomed and targeted from online platforms. So most children and most people in Nairobi are on social media platforms, and most of them are children, mostly the ones in teenagehood. So they tend to be they tend to be exploited by maybe through pornographic images. They are told to send them and on different social media platforms. And most cases are mostly in slums where poverty is more, like in Mathare, Mukuru and Kibera slums.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in your experience,
Pardon?
So no, I was just saying, from what you said, is that in your experience, other than domestic labor in Nairobi, what you have seen is online child trafficking, or you've said the online. You've brought out the aspect of the sex tourism, mostly through the online platforms due to access to social media.
Yeah.
And you've said a lot of this is happening in the slums. Is there any reason why you believe this happens in the slum more than anywhere else? Why the slums? What do you think it's happening?
Because poverty. Okay, in slums, mostly people due to poverty most of the time, and also mostly during this pandemic, they don't have food and anything. So the only way they can get all this for their families is through all that child tourism, and also due to peer pressure in slums where everyone wants to be equal, everyone wants to be seen. So that mostly happens. Okay, the higher percentage happens in slums, but it's also in other places, but mostly it happens in slums. Even through my research using Google, I also found that mostly it happens in slums, mostly in Nairobi and other capital cities.
Okay, so poverty is one of the reasons, or the driving factor, as children are looking to feed or maybe feed their family. Okay, thank you for that, Megan. I have Angela Lydia.
My name is Angela Lydia.
Yes.
I am 13 years old and I am from Dwelling Places.
Yes.
Here I'll tell you about the forms of child trafficking. There's commercial sexual exploitation, whereby children are trafficked for purposes of sexual exploitation in activities such as prostitution, pornography, and child sex tourism. And I also want to tell you about forced labor. Children are trafficked from one place to another, like to work, such as like working in stone quarries, most especially in Arua, working as housemaids in most especially in Kampala, and also working as barmaids and babysitters. And others are sent to work in sugarcane plantations, and that is found in Ginger. And I want to also tell you about baby trade. Hereby, like the babies whom are born, like when the parents are not, like they did not plan. Like a baby who's just born anyhow, when a parent just goes and you know how it happens.
Yes.
And the baby is just sold anyhow. Thank you.
Let me ask Angela, you've said the babies are being sold. So who is buying, or who buys these children?
A trafficker might be looking for like a child, like to raise the child as a worker, as like when the child grows, the child starts working for that person. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Angela. This is interesting because I'm saying well, someone buys a child to raise them and have them become or work for them. Okay, I'm seeing maybe from all the answers that we have received, one of the forms of what we are all seeing in both Kenya and Uganda is that children are being used for domestic labor, or the most common is domestic labor, both, and also forced labor. Well, there's the domestic and the forced labor, either in sugar plantations. We've also brought out the aspect of child trafficking, maybe through use of drugs or to do a drug run. But underlying maybe both Kenya and Uganda, I think both of them, we're saying that there are the reasons, not the reasons, but the form of trafficking we are seeing is still labor, domestic labor, as the most of what most of you know. I believe it was Megan Tess who started us on the conversation of the reasons why, or maybe because we've highlighted these cases are happening, and maybe so far what we've said is I'm seeing unplanned pregnancies coming out as the reason why children are being used for domestic labor, in the sense that parents are having children without actually having planned to have them. And so they have extra mouths to feed. And then as a result, these children are actually then used for labor. But Megan had also highlighted the issue of poverty and in the slum areas as a reason of why these children are being used for labor, also poverty as a result, as a reason leading to the domestic labor or child trafficking. So is there any other reason, anyone else know any other reason why children are trafficked? Or what reasons do you know that lead to trafficking? Why are children being trafficked? You can raise your hands. Let me see. It's the same hands. I'm trying to find for someone who has still not spoken. Okay, I have Isaac. Isaac who? Kitui. Isaac, unmute yourself on your end. Yes.
So I'm Isaac from Kitui, Kenya.
Oh,
I
your
think
name is not Kitui.
no.
How old are you, Isaac?
I'm 17 years old.
Okay. Yes. What do you know as the reasons why children are trafficked? Why are children trafficked?
I think one, they are a source of cheap labor.
They're a source of cheap labor.
They, at their tender age, they don't get tired easily. They are tricked easily. They are told that they will be paid a lot of money, yet they are not paid at first. So they work so fast and complete their work faster. So they are tricked in those ways. The third one, yes. That, I think the third one is that as they do the work, they have the anxiety to finish the work faster. So they find doing work, the work is finished earlier as expected by doing by other people. The other thing is that some of the kids do the work to provide for their families, so they end up being trafficked to some dangerous jobs like drug trafficking. And so, yes. The other thing is about they come from a poor background where they find that even food they are not able to get it. So they end up in streets doing hard jobs depending on their ages. So they end up on those jobs to provide for their families the things that they need.
Okay. You've highlighted quite some reasons for why children are trafficked. You told us that they are a source of cheap labor because you wouldn't pay a child as much as you pay an adult, or they do not even really know how to negotiate so that they're able to get what they're worth or what they would think they're worth. So for a child, maybe what they're paid is a little money, so they're used as cheap labor. You've also brought out the aspect of their being tricked because children by nature are quite trusting. So they're easily tricked into doing some of this thing or into believing that either they're going for better or to following what an adult says. And then you've said children, you've brought out the aspect that they have a lot of energy. So they're able to complete tasks and complete them quite fast. And then also because of poverty and the need to help their families, and really provide for their families, children will voluntarily find themselves, or not voluntarily, but because of the issues or circumstances, they find themselves on the streets, or also in some of these domestic labor or in the different other child labor activities in a bid to help their families. Thank you for that, Isaac. Anyone? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of hands. There is let's see, someone who has not spoken. There's Gitonga. So it's Gitonga. Yes. Mike Dennis Gitonga. Unmute yourself.
Yes.
Yes. Hi, Mike.
I'm fine.
Your name? Okay. Your name is Mike, right? Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, we can hear you. You can tell us your name and your age and where you're calling us from.
My name is.
Sorry, there is a lot of movement on your end. Maybe if you stand still and then can be able to hear you.
I'm Kelvin Mweti in Meru County. I'm 16 years old.
Yes. Mike, sorry, you said your name. Sorry, I keep reading your name here. Remind me your name again. My apologies for that.
Kelvin Mweti.
Kelvin Mweti, and you said you're from Meru. Kelvin, why do you think children, or what leads children to being trafficked in Meru? What actually, because Meru is quite unique. It's a different zone in terms of the agricultural areas, and it's one of also the hubs of trafficking in Kenya. What forms of trafficking are there in Meru, and why are children? What causes children to be trafficked?
For commercial gains.
Commercial gains. What? Go on. Sorry?
Money pretend.
They pretend.
They want to please their either elders.
So they want to please. Okay, they are trying to please their elders. What type of work are children doing in Meru? Anafanya kazi gani? What work are children doing in Meru?
Kuna drugs Meru.
Kuna drugs.
Kuna hii kutumiwa kama yaani kwa mwanafunzi kutumwa na bank.
Kutumwa na
bank.
Bangi.
Yaani najuu mwenye anakutuma ni mkubwa kuliko huwezi ukakataa kitu, maneno kama hayo.
Lazima ufuate vile wanasema ama vile umeambiwa. Na kuna wenye wanafanya kazi kwa mashamba ama ni bado tu ni hizi bangi? Na
kuna wenye wanafanya
kazi gani ama kwa shamba za aina gani? Kulima ama nafanya nini huko? Kwa nini kwa shamba?
Kulima. Kulima vitu aina kadhaa hizi za wakulima.
Okay, asante Mike. Maybe to translate for those from Uganda, what Mike is talking about, he says in Meru is on the the far eastern side of Kenya. Is it eastern? Well, yes. Is it central eastern? Sorry, eastern. Yes, and he's talking about the issue of drug trafficking or drug in itself, children being used as runner of drugs, and also they're being used within the plantations. A lot of the area is rich in miraa trade, so that is where a lot of the Kenya miraa comes from, within the Meru region. So children are used to do farming, miraa farming, and also other forms of farming. Haya, asante Mike, asante Kelvin, pole Kelvin. Let me find somebody else who has not yet spoken. Tracy Atieno. I'm not so sure that it's Tracy or someone else. Unmute yourself. Tracy.
Hello? Do you hear me?
Hi. Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, we can hear you.
I'm Tracy Atieno from Kisumu.
Kisumu. How old are you, Tracy?
I'm 16 years old.
Okay.
Okay, me, I think. Huh?
Yes, go on.
I was saying that the reason why I think some children are trafficked is because of their background. So you find that maybe the child is coming from a poor background. So the parent uses him or her to get maybe money to satisfy their need. And also maybe there are children who stay with their guardians. Their guardians will maybe traffic them because they don't want the best for them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, poverty as a reason, and sometimes the guardians also are using children as a way of trafficking. So from, maybe to summarize, from what I've heard from a lot of you, you're saying the reason most children are trafficked, or the reasons, one of them is because of poverty. A lot of them are coming from the poor background, so they find themselves in the need to raise money and also assist their family. So they find themselves in different forms of trafficking. Also, I think it was Calvin who said children trust their elders, so they do what they are told, which was also another issue that had been raised before, where it was said that because children trust elders and they trust they're easily tricked as a reason. So they find themselves in terms of doing a lot of finding themselves into the trafficking business. And then also we have found their ability to, they have energy and their inability to negotiate. So they become a cheap source of labor. And yes, they are also driven by the need to facilitate and assist their families. So let me ask, are there cultural perceptions or practices that lead to trafficking? Are there things that we are doing within our culture or things that happen within our culture that actually lead to trafficking? I'm seeing so many hands raised. What is it within our African society and our African culture? I know we talked about marriage, we talked about this labor, we have talked about children with disabilities or children in the streets who are begging. But what is it within our cultures that is actually leading to, is there anything within our African culture that leads to trafficking? I'm trying to find somebody who has not spoken. Okay, I don't know whether, had Jessica spoken? Birungi Jessica. Yes, Jessica. Hi, Jessica. Kindly unmute yourself. Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Namsoya Brenda. From Rahab.
Yes. Okay. Hi, Brenda.
Yeah.
How old are you, Brenda?
I'm 16 years.
16 years. Okay. So what is in our African society that is leading to this trafficking?
Inheritance.
Inheritance?
For example. Sorry?
Yes, continue. Explain that one.
For we girls, we don't inherit our parents' properties because we are girls. But they want to inherit, they give the inheritance to boys. That will force me to go and work abroad to get properties. What is that? What is special to boys?
So why are boys inheriting and not girls?
Yeah, that will force me to go abroad and do commercial sex so that I get money and buy properties like land. I buy cars, houses, so that I sustain life.
Okay. So because, yes, that's quite an interesting and one of the issues within our African society, the fact that girls are not able to inherit. So as a result, they have to fend for themselves because they don't inherit the children's wealth, their parents' wealth. Thank you so much for that, Brenda. Let's hear from, okay, I'm seeing within my chat box, there are people who are saying we have not allowed them to talk. One is anonymous, the other one was Joseph Karish. I know, Joseph, we had tried getting you at some point, but you were unable to talk. I'm still not seeing. Yes.
I have another point.
Okay, 1 minute. So for anyone who wants to speak, please raise your hand. Joseph, raise your hand if you really want to speak. Okay, Brenda, continue.
Another point. Lack of support for women's leadership. For us women, we are put down. We don't lead. For example, the Catholics. In Catholics, you can't become a monk. In Uganda, they call them father. They call them father in Uganda. That's also forced me to go that to force me also. That will force me because monks they pay them a lot of money. More they pay them a lot of money than nuns. So that also forced me to go and get money so that I sustain life. I earn a living.
So the aspect, okay, you've brought in an interesting element where women cannot do some job, or some jobs are, for men or are left for men. And even sometimes where they have these jobs, there is the difference or inequality in pay, where women are paid less.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another point. Another point. Education is denied. Our parents think we girls we have many opportunities, so they don't support us in education. They mostly support boys. That will also force me to go and get a sugar daddy to support me in my studies, so that I become an important person.
Okay, so the boy child, the education is left for the boy child as opposed to the girl child. Okay.
Thank
you.
All
right. Thank you so much. I think it's Brenda, right? Yes, Brenda.
Yes.
And thank you, everyone, for all your contributions around this. I am going to hand you over back to Jessica, and she will take us through this another segment on still again around trafficking, but also on the issues of COVID and where we are at. Jessica? Jessica? Is Jessica here?
Yes, Shasha, I'm here.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for taking us through that session on the first part of trafficking. And we know that you have all heard about the COVID-19 pandemic disease, have you? And when it happened, we have been experiencing so many changes in our lives, including lockdowns, closure of schools, and right now across the East African community, all the children are not going to school; they are at home with their parents. So I would like you to bring you to this issue. Oh, cut my video. Oh, I'm sorry, you weren't seeing me. Well, I apologize. I would like to bring you to the issue of the COVID-19 disease. Kindly tell me how the disease has affected you in your communities or the children in your communities. I would like to start. I can see many hands up. I would like to give an opportunity to Somero, Uganda. Anyone from Somero, Uganda? Have you heard the question? Somero, Uganda. I can see your hand up. Somero, Uganda, GAA advocate. Hello. Okay, as Somero, Uganda gets ready, I would like to give an opportunity to Stephen Wamala. And Stephen Wamala is on this side. I'm going to mute because I want to mute the camera for the time being so that for his protection. Yes, Stephen, come and tell us how the COVID-19 disease has affected your community.
Hi, my name is Omara Stephen from Dwelling Places. As we know, COVID-19 has been taking place. It is a disease that has affected most of our countries worldwide. And to us children, it has affected us in many ways, including it has led to a fallback in children's education as schools have been closed. Here in Uganda, since March, we've not been going to school, and this has resulted to many things, many disadvantages that I'm going to say. It has turned children into workers, even in jobs not fit for them. For example, there are some companies here in Uganda that are recruiting young children, even below the age of, because here a child is a person below the age of 18 years. But now these people are recruiting children even 14, 13, 12 years into their communities, community places for giving them work, which is not good, because as children, we need, as long as maybe we are not in schools, but we have to be in a safe place and have education and learn by ourselves. Maybe we read our books. But then these people are forcing us into their workplaces to work as to work. So I don't think this is good. It has led to family separations, which is a research for peace. Now, this COVID-19 season came, it has put effects to our parents as children. It has put us down, that parents are not having jobs. Some of them are not having jobs anymore. Maybe my father was riding a boda, and by the start of this lockdown, the president said no, boda men are allowed to be working or maybe taking customers. So this has been an effect whereby parents are saying, I have no money to feed my child. I have not even a single thing to provide my child. Then is an effect to us. What do we have to do? We have nothing to do. All we do is looking forward to what do we have. That's why my parents have been saying that we are being forced to go into work so as to provide for your families. We are not the heads of the family, but we are forced to work and come. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Stephen, for that insight on COVID-19. I can see so many other hands on the Kenyan side who has not spoken. I see so many hands. Can we, Emily Donia, how has COVID-19 contributed how has the COVID-19 disease affected children in the community? Hello? Hello? We are hearing a background from Total News. Please, Total News, take care of that. The question on the floor is how has the COVID-19 disease affected children in your community? Can we have Faith Chebet? I can see your hand is up. Faith? Hello? Faith Chebet? Okay, as we wait for Faith Chebet, can we hear from Tracy Atieno? Tracy Atieno? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello, Total News. Fresher, can you hear me? Michelle, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Jessica. Go ahead.
Okay, maybe the children don't seem to hear me. I see so many hands up, but
So which one do you want to talk?
there was Somero Uganda.
She's not.
Somero Uganda GAA advocate. She's muted. And how about Faith Chebet?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, I can see Somero is here. Hello.
Hello.
Chebet. Hello, we can hear you, Faith Chebet.
Kenya.
Yes, Faith.
Yeah,
you can talk.
Kenya, 42. So about the COVID-19, how it has affected children.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Faith. Faith?
Yes, I was saying, due to the pandemic, most of the children, especially those living in poverty,
Faith, we lost you.
Hello, Madam Jessica.
Okay.
Madam Jessica.
Hello. Yes.
Hello.
Hey, increase your volume. We can't hear you. You are very low. You move near your gadget.
Are you getting me now?
Yes, we can get you now, Faith.
Yes.
So I was saying how the COVID-19 has affected children. So due to the COVID-19 pandemic, most of the children, especially those living in poverty, have become idle since they don't go to school. So some of them, like, let's talk about girls. So as we've had cases of early pregnancies, so the girls are forced to get married early because of the early pregnancies.
Okay, thank you, Faith. Somero Uganda, are you ready now?
Yes.
Okay. How has the COVID-19 pandemic affected children in your community?
Hello, my name is Indigo Dennis, 13 years of age.
Please speak louder.
Hello, my name is Indigo Dennis.
Yes.
13 years of age, and a swim
Yes.
agent for Somera, Uganda, and a GA advocate. The lockdown has...
Please get nearer to the microphone.
The lockdown has made life for refugee families, especially children. Schools were closed, parents are no longer working, and to some refugee children, school was already a challenge. For them to access now, this, I don't think some of my refugee children will go back to school. Many of them are engaging in child labor, especially in Kidokolo, Kawempe, are hawking food for their families. Even some don't know the language. So they spend the whole day and they don't make any money. Being hungry for a whole day, imagine a hawker refugee family where children now are the ones hawking. Instead of earning 100%, they'll only earn 10%. If they're eating 3 times a day, they'll change to 1 time within a day. And I think of refugee girls, especially in camps, they're sexually abused. Because now they need pads since for their monthly issues have not been locked, so men use this opportunity to mistreat girls in favor of pads. Government should deliver pads for refugee girls. Thank you.
Thank you, Samira. Thank you for that insight on that.
Madam Jessica?
Yes?
Can I
Yes?
please add something?
Yes, please add something in 1 minute.
Thank you so much. My name is Tesha. I'm a scrim agent of Somera, Uganda, and a GA advocate. I wanted to talk about how the lockdown has affected girls, really, because schools have been closed. Since schools have been closed, where we girls have been safe, the government sent we children home to be safe. But according to what I'm seeing now, according to my side, we are in very, very much of danger because many girls are getting pregnant during this lockdown. Many girls are being forced to get married. And what do you think is going to happen to us? Do you think we are going to go back to school, or do you think those children who have been dead, those children who are getting a lot of number of death threats, are going to be able to go back to school? Because children are dying when giving birth to children. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that insight. Yes, it is true now that the children are at home, but many are getting pregnant. So we need to work together as the executive director of the National Children's Authority encouraged us. We need to work together so that we ensure that our children are protected from such issues that are affecting our children. I would like to go to the next question. And it goes, how do you think the issue of child trafficking can be addressed and solved in your community? Or maybe I could go back, but you have already kind of expounded on the idea, because it would have been how the impact of COVID-19 has contributed to the forms of child trafficking in your communities. But many of you have already made an insight on the same. So how would you think, as children, how do you think the issue of child trafficking can be addressed and solved in your communities and your countries as a whole? Yes, I can see Wafula Frederick Orengo. I can see your hand up. Frederick Orengo, I can see your hand up. Okay, I can see Linda Nambusi's hand up.
Yes.
Yes, Linda.
Me, I think this child trafficking can be addressed by.
Can you please get nearer to your microphone? We don't hear you, my dear.
Now you're hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you, but okay, we'll listen hard and hear you clearly.
Okay. Me, I think this child traffic can be addressed in the community by sensitizing these police officers on the road to know how to handle the things and to make sure that when the case is taken to the police station, there were those other people who can handle the issue. In the absence of probationer officer, that there is those other policemen who can handle the issue from the community. And also the parents should take care of their kids, because nowadays in this COVID, people like our parents are so ignorant to their children. They don't take enough responsibilities to their children due to they don't work. They send their children to the field, maybe like on the streets to sell tomatoes, onions. From there, a child can be trafficked. Therefore, here, a parent also can be able to take the responsibility to their children in the community. They have to be sensitized. Here comes like the NGOs and the government should organize and sensitize our parents to take care of their children.
Thank you so much, Linda. You have highlighted the issue of sensitization. Sensitization, that shows that there is still a gap in sensitizing our enforcement officers like the police. And then you have also highlighted that our parents, many of our parents and caretakers are not well informed about the issue of trafficking, so they need more awareness and capacity. And you also highlighted something very important on parenting, that they don't necessarily care about the children, but all they care about is probably sending the children to the market to sell tomatoes, so that at the end of the day they bring in something. Parenting is very, very, very key in this matter. Can we have another person?
Can I add something small else?
In 1 minute.
Yes.
1 minute, please. We have many
I
hands
wanted
that
to
are
add
up.
something like these children who are trafficked, they are like those ones who are trafficked from the outside of a country to the inside of the country. I just wanted to know or to ask, how are these children moved from to their country to another country, yet the traffic officers are on those roads and they are saying that they are keeping those roads and they are preventing child trafficking to happen. That means these traffic officers, some of them are corrupt, that they let these people traffic these children. So what I think the government should do is to give harsh punishments to those people who allow child trafficking to happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda. Let's go to the Kenyan side. I can see Sylvia Segei's hand up. Sylvia Segei's hand is up. Are you ready to say something? If Sylvia is not ready, I can see Rodney Muteri's hand is up. Rodney, how do you think the issue of child trafficking can be addressed and solved in your community? Okay. Yes, Megan. I can see your hand is up. Megan? Megan Tess?
Hello.
Yes, Megan. How do you think the issue of child trafficking can be addressed and solved in your community?
I'm Resty, a GAA advocate from Somero, Uganda. I would like to add on of what my colleague has said. Me, what I say is that community leaders and members should support livelihood to help families avoid the need of having their children work. Maybe if you have your neighbor who's poor, let you who has something at least help that neighbor to avoid that neighbor having the need of her child to gain work. And another thing is the government should rehabilitate victims of child trafficking and rebuild their lives. Let me say a girl has been trafficked and maybe by chance for some time the child comes back, you get that child back. You never know the child was trafficked for sexual exploitation. So if that child was trafficked for sexual exploitation, let the government not leave that child aside. Let the government help that child and maybe take that child to school if it's the needful to make her feel life again. Thank you.
Thank you, Resty. We're almost getting to the last part of our session. And I would like to pose another question. As children in the East African community, what do you want your governments and duty bearers to ensure, to ensure that you're protected from child trafficking? Some of you have already hinted on it, like Rested, but we would like to hear more from the Kenyan side. What would you like the governments in the East African community to do to ensure you're protected? Hello? I can see who has not spoken. There is Irene Kush. Irene Kush, are you ready to say something? I can also see, as we wait for Irene Kush, I can see Wafula Frederick Orengo. His hand is up. Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Okay, I have, on my side, I have a child who would like to say something. So I'm going to switch off, I'm going to mute the video for now for her protection so that she can make her submission. But you already Yes, introduce yourself.
My name's called Takan Esther. My name's called Takan Esther. I am 15 years old. I would like the government to let the government expand protective services for victims through partnerships with egos and CSOs. Let our government work together to prevent, intercept, and address child trafficking and crime. No network will translate national borders. As a rule of the government to protect the children, they should come out strong against child trafficking. Thank you for listening.
Yes.
Madam Jessica.
Another person?
I'm ready.
You're ready?
Madam Jessica.
Okay.
Yes. My name is Namte Vivian from Rahab, Uganda. I'm here to say something about the government. The government should put strict rules against child trafficking. And the government should provide the children, cause very many children who are trafficked, but the government should put rules and children should not be trafficked. And the government should teach people more about child trafficking. That's all what I heard.
Madam Jessica. Madam Jessica. Point of addition. Namsoria Brenda from Rahab, Uganda, a girls advocate. My point is the government should provide friendly services like Sauti 116 to call, report those cases of child trafficking so that we fight child trafficking in the world. Another point, the government should put strict laws and corporal punishment to those who traffic children, hence to reduce child trafficking in the country, in our countries. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other contribution?
Yes. Hello, Madam Jessica.
Okay.
Somero
Yes.
Uganda.
Okay, Somero. In 1 minute,
Yes.
we are entering into the last session of the webinar.
Yes, I'm Rashida. The government should set up a joint protection officers at the borders so that they work hand in hand to protect child trafficking. And in addition to that, the government should put child protection officers to make sure knowing where are the children crossing the borders, for what reasons are they leaving this country to go to the other country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rashida. I saw Joseph Kari's hand up. Yes, Joseph. We are at the point where we are making our asks to our governments. What would we want our governments to do to ensure that our children are protected from child trafficking?
Yes, Madam Jessica.
Yes, Joseph.
I'm not Joseph. Hello. Hello.
I can hear you. I can hear you. Please introduce yourself and then go straight to your.
I'm Karen from Bungoma County. What I would like to say is that the government should put the penalties of
of the people who want to make the children to suffer like this trafficking, like child labor, that when a person does something wrong to the child should be punished. And also the government should make sure that the children are having everything that they need, especially girls like this, sanitary towels to prevent something like early pregnancies, early marriages that may get them when they are searching such a things. And that's all.
Thank you so much. I would like us to go to the very
Hello, Madam Jessica.
very last question. That affects us directly. Yes.
Hello.
Yes. Hello.
My name is Catherine from Bungoma. Hello, Madam Jessica.
Yes, yes, Catherine, I can hear you.
And I wanted to add this in child trafficking. In some areas there are children like us, but I think they are albinos. And child trafficking, most of those albinos, it happens to them. What I like to say, government that the thing that government should do is to protect those children that have such a problem, and to protect all the girls, and to make sure that those who are carrying out this child trafficking should be punished and pay for it. Given just a penalty. Yes, and so that girls can stay safe, because we're the most important persons in this world, and also we need our rights, and we need to stay safe. That's all I wanted to say. Madam, just in addition to that.
Thank you so much, Catherine. Thank you so much, Catherine. Yes, Biruti.
It's me, Kim from Abu, Uganda.
Yes, your name again?
Kim from Abu, Uganda.
Yes.
The government should provide child-friendly services. The LCs should report and arrest those who violate the rights of the children. The government should sensitize the community about the trafficking. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, our last question goes to us as children, generally. What do we as children in the East African community commit to stop the forms of child trafficking? We have been discussing here, and we realize that all of us are relatively informed about the forms of child trafficking, including child labor, commercial sexual exploitation, baby trade, trafficking for witchcraft and organ, and you know. Yeah. So what do we as children commit to? We children in the East African community, how would we want to help each other? Because this is a collective effort. We need protection starts with us. We need to protect ourselves before other people come in to protect us. So we as children, what would you like to do to ensure that we are protected as children? Any hands?
Madam Jessica?
Let me give an opportunity to someone who has not spoken. I would like to give an opportunity. Yes, Carrie.
Hello, Madam Jessica.
I'm Karen from Bungoma County.
Yes, Karish.
Sorry?
Karen. Yes, Karen.
Yes,
Your microphone.
yes, madam. I'm here from Bungoma County.
Yes.
I'm 16 years old.
Karen, I can hear you.
Yes, I want to say this, that what we should do to prevent child trafficking as the children, we should make sure that we also protect ourselves, not just wait for the government to help us. Like, not to end up borrowing everything from the people whom we don't know, strangers. Maybe we may end up losing our lives. We try to take care of ourselves as the government also tries. That's what I heard.
Thank you very much, Karen. It is important to avoid strangers. Yes.
There's something I wanted to add.
I'm Ilimo Esther from Rahab, Uganda. Ilimo Esther from Rahab, Uganda.
Yes,
Girls advocate. We should teach our fellow children how to report the traffickers on 116. We should tell them more about traffickers. That's all. Thank you.
Madam Jessica?
Point of addition on that.
Yes.
Telling our fellow students or children not to trust everyone they found. Not to trust everyone. My last point, telling our fellow.
Hello, Madam Jessica. Are you hearing me?
I can hear you.
Can we Catherine? I wanted to add something, please.
Not to avoid gift.
Can you kindly mute your microphone so that you don't cause the echo?
Hello.
Irunji, yes?
I wanted to add something. The thing is that to avoid child trafficking, the safety starts with us. Girls, we should remain home, in our homes, and most of the times we should not accept to associate with strangers, the people that we don't know, and taking things, some gifts from them, and we should not trust them. We should not keep our trust in them.
Hello, Madam Jessica. Hello. I'm Rashida from Somelo, Uganda. I want to add on that we children, we have to spread the clear information about the child trafficking, the dangerousness in it to our fellow children, like as we here who have been live on this conference. Let us go back at our homes and the community. We share the information we have got within the community and our fellow children there, and know that child trafficking is really not good to our lives. In this, I mean, we have to be informed. The person who knows the information about the child trafficking should tell each other, like us with the children, we have to be sharing the information about it. If you know something about child trafficking, please don't keep silent. Tell your friend, and that friend tell the other, so that we are all informed about this, and we shall keep our lives so safe. Because when someone can come to me, when I'm informed that this person what is saying or what's willing to do is really not good to my life. However, I may be in the need of money, as we have said as we have said that most of the children are trafficked due to labor. Some are yearning to be with money, fulfilling their basic needs. But here, if I'm informed and I have enough information about trafficking, the bad side of it, I have to say that no, this and this will happen and this will be the outcome from it. So I'm encouraging my fellow children to be aware and share the information about child trafficking. Thank you so much.
Addition that, Madam Jessica. Hello, Madam Jessica. Can you hear me, please? Hello. I'm Victoria from Rahab, Uganda. I advise my fellows to be contacted on what they have, since we have heard about child trafficking and they have been informing us. I advise my fellows to be contented on what they have. When their parents force them to do what they are not supposed to do, and let them report. So I'm saying to my fellows to be contented on that, because if you be contented on those ones which they have, since you don't have enough basic needs, but we need to be contented with what we have, and that's how our parents have provided to us. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to mute my camera and give chance to one more person, and then we'll go into the last session, the closing session. Okay.
Hello. Hello, Madam Jessica. Hello. Hello, Madam Jessica.
Joseph Karisha. Good morning to all of you. My name is Chisacha Matthew from Kampala, Uganda, Building Places. For the case of what we have to commit to do or what we are committing, now we all, like the time back before COVID, we were at schools, then we had that chance of sensitizing others by telling them the experiences some of our friends or our fellow brothers and sisters have gone through. Like we tell them the issues of child labor, how it looks like, or we explain to them what it is, because you might say that they report those cases and then they report what is not the usual case. And then the other thing is how we find a way how to communicate to the outside world. How? By making this thing of they tell us to write articles, then we have to make articles in the school magazines, notebooks. We don't know where these articles will reach, but in that we might get a chance that they fall into hands of the responsible people, and they read, then they get to know what is the reality. And the other thing is that we should start engaging ourselves in ways like singing about the truth of what child trafficking is. And then the other thing is that we should tell our parents and we should talk to them about the ways they treat us, about what is paining us, because these parents might be ignorant about it when they are just doing it ignorantly. If someone is your parent, forces you to work, which is forced labor. Yes, you know that it is forced labor, but she might not know. Then you end up reporting. Then she reaches there. Hey, I didn't know. So for me, for me, I would what? I would make campaigns like we the students can campaign for ourselves and campaign for what? For our rights. Like you campaign, like you say, as students of this school and this, we are standing against child trafficking. Then you give the community the ways, the what. Then these people are gonna know what is the reality. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Matthew. We have Matthew brings us to the end of our session. We have now entered the last session of our webinar, and this is the closing part. Our guest of honor is ready. He has been listening in. I would like to introduce him. Our guest of honor is Honorable George Odongo. He's a member of the East African Legislative Assembly and chairperson of the Uganda chapter. He's very passionate about public policy and governance. And at IALA, he sits on two committees, that is the General Purpose Committee and the Committee on Trade and Investment. Honorable Dongo, I'd like to invite you to officially close this webinar. It's been a whole 2 hours of discussions and deliberations on the issue of child trafficking and its forms, and how the COVID-19 pandemic has exacerbated child trafficking in our communities. The children have expressed their concerns. They have made asks of government. They have made their asks to government and CSOs as well as duty bearers, and they have also made some commitments so that they are able to contribute to protecting themselves as children in the East African community. I would like to invite you, Honorable George. Hello? Hello? Dr. News, are you able to, can we let Honorable George in?
Kunao malezi. Nimesikiza nimechoka. Nakusikia.
Jessica, is he around? Because I can't see him.
Yes, he's been listening in all the way. Let me try to raise him. Just a minute.
Going to lift up his hand.
Hello. Nakusikia.
Yes, so I wanted to log in because we don't know. So, kindly requesting your question to that officially because we also want him to take issues successfully. So I would like to ask you again the
Jessica, you're muted.
yes,
Has he joined?
Not yet. Let me try him again. We are okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Jeffrey, yeah, kindly allow him in. Allow me. Oh, yeah, he's here. Jenny, Honorable, you can see him on the screen. Kindly unmute his microphone, or you can mute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, Honorable.
I didn't get the closing remarks. Can you just bring me on board, please?
Honorable, we've had a whole 2 hours of discussions and deliberation on the issue of child trafficking with the children in the East African community. We had a total of 50 children representing. We had 25 from Uganda and 25 from Kenya. They have been talking about the forms of child trafficking and how they have been affected. And this is also how the COVID-19 pandemic has contributed to the issue of trafficking that they are facing. They highlighted child labor, commercial sexual exploitation, baby trade, trafficking for organ harvest. Then there are those who are trafficked for sacrifice. And then there was also a point where a child mentioned that the albinos are also trafficked for issues of spiritual healing. And they went ahead to make suggestions of how they as children in the East African community participate in their own protection before government comes in to protect them, because ideally protection starts with them. So they highlighted that sensitization should continue, so that right from the school level and community level, so that children get to know more about the vice of trafficking in the community. They talked about being not talking to strangers, because it is not that everybody who comes your way and smiles at you has good intentions. Some of them talked about making groups in their own schools so that they can do the advocacy or the awareness at within their own peers at school. And they also made some asks to government. They requested that the government should put up rehabilitation centers for the children or survivors of child trafficking, and as a whole ensure child-friendly services to all: justice, health, food and shelter. They also highlighted the issue of parenting. They said they implied that parenting has gone down, because many parents today think that once they have given you everything, then that is it. That is the parenting they do. But there was also an issue where children highlighted that one of that the parents or caretakers should be more careful so that they don't have unplanned pregnancies, because it is one of the contributors of child labor, in such a way that when these people get pregnant and have unplanned for children, then they have more mouths to feed. So at the end of the day, the children are sent to the markets or to plantations so that they also fend for the family. So this is where we are, Honorable Dongo. We would like to hear from you. The children are waiting. Over to you, Honorable Dongo.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for, first of all, I want to thank you for these young East Africans. And also thank you so much for, continuing with the conversation around child trafficking and all the vices that come with it. I think is important that, number one, we empower children to speak for themselves, because they give us the legitimacy to raise the issues that affect them. So I want to thank you for giving them the opportunity to speak. And of course, I want to thank the children that have participated today. I listened to some of you. Unfortunately, because I'm driving, I had some issues with network, but I want to say you have been exceptionally very good with the issues, and I want to thank you for being very keen on matters that affect you as young people. And I just want to encourage you that never give up, always be keen on what affects you and speak out, because it's your voices that will empower us to speak for you even better. So thank you so much. Now, COVID-19 and the trafficking of children and all the vices that come with it is a matter that requires the attention of government, the attention of all the stakeholders, civil society, including children themselves. I have listened to some of you, and you have raised matters that affect you at family level, matters that affect you at a community level, and also some things that you feel that government should have done better. And I want to thank you for raising those issues. Me, as a member of the East African Legislative Assembly, I can state without any doubt that the more I listen to you, the more I even get more encouraged to speak about some of the issues that that affect you, the young children. As you know that the community is a place where we come out with regional laws. I'm glad that you have Kenya and Uganda speaking today. I'm hoping that next time we shall have again another country, maybe South Sudan, maybe Tanzania speaking with Kenya. And indeed, when you bring these young people to speak together, they begin to feel a sense of community. But for us, we have a sense of obligation to you. And I want to commit that as an assembly, these are matters that are going to come before our house. I have listened to you, and I think that we have to scale this conversation to the level of East African Legislative Assembly. I'm a member of the General Purpose Committee, and this matter falls directly within our committee. I am going to raise this matter so that we begin to interrogate them, so that we can have an East African understanding of what you, the young children, are going through, the dangers that you go through, and what kind of protection that we should be putting in place in order to have children that are protected from child trafficking. I listened to you carefully, and I know that there are issues that are of a push and pull nature. There are things that are pushing you out of your homes to get into child labor and even to be vulnerable to trafficking. I listened to some of you saying there are cultural prejudices against girls, and that predisposes girls into, into those vulnerabilities to child trafficking. I've also heard some of you saying the allure of getting money. Those are the pull factors, meaning that we really have got to start to address both the push and pull factors. But today I want to address myself to family. Family is a very important institution. The household, it is the institution where values are impacted onto the child. And I am praying that we continue to strengthen the institution of family, because that is where the children begin to be groomed. That is where the children begin to be valued. That is where the children begin to be empowered.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, Honorable Dongo, we can hear you.
Yes. So I am hoping. Okay. So I am hoping that we continue to build this relationship that already exists between the East African Legislative Assembly and all these children's organizations and the children's movements, so that together we can have a very strong voice that can influence government and can influence our communities to change the ways in which we handle children's matters, but most importantly, to protect the children. So I congratulate you and thank you so much for inviting me. I look forward to seeing you people coming to Arusha and putting your petitions. I would really encourage that you bring children and let them petition the assembly on matters that affect them. And this would then give us the necessary sense of urgency. So thank you so much. And I wish you all good luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Honorable Dongo. And that brings us to the end of our webinar. You have heard, and you have heard from the Honorable, and usually when a big man speaks, the small people like us speak no more. So you have heard that the webinar has been officially closed. And thank you once again. Thank you to the children who took time to participate and prepare themselves to participate in this webinar. Thank you so much. Your issues have been noted. We're going to prepare a report that we're going to share with all the participants or the participating CSOs, so that at the end of the day, we come up with a common agenda on how to protect our children in the East Africa.